Senior Survey Officer Vextal adjusted his scanning equipment as his ship drifted silently above the third planet. The blue and green world below looked peaceful enough, with primitive settlements scattered across its surface. His job was simple: catalog new species, assess their threat level, and move on to the next system. The bipedal creatures on this world called themselves humans. Vextal watched their clumsy metal rockets struggle to reach their own moon. Chemical propulsion, he noted with amusement. How quaint. His own people had abandoned such crude technology thousands of years ago. Computer, begin threat assessment, he commanded in his native tongue. The ship's artificial intelligence began its analysis. Surface scans revealed basic cities, primitive transportation, and what appeared to be simple nuclear weapons. Nothing that would concern the Galactic Council. These humans barely qualified as a spacefaring civilization. Far below on Earth's surface, Dr. Kim Hyun-woo sat in a chair that did not officially exist, inside a facility that was not on any government maps. The room was carved deep into Mount Fuji, protected by layers of rock and advanced shielding that made it invisible to most scanning equipment. Hyun-woo's fingers danced across displays that would have made Vextal's advanced technology look like stone tools. Holographic screens showed every detail of the alien ship above: its power systems, weapon configurations, shield frequencies, and engine design. The visitor is using standard graviton manipulation for propulsion, Hyun-woo reported to his team. Shield rotation follows the pattern we identified in the Centauri probe 3 years ago. Their scanning array operates on predictable frequencies. Director Park Do-yeon stood behind him, watching the data stream in. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and graying hair, but her calm demeanor hid decades of preparation for this exact moment. "How long until we have complete technical specifications?" she asked. "Another 6 hours, Hyun-woo replied. "Their security protocols are actually quite basic. We cracked similar systems during the Proxima incident." Park nodded and activated her communication device. "Sol Command, this is Deep Space Monitor Alpha. Our expected guests have arrived. Begin protocol observation. Do not engage under any circumstances." The message traveled through quantum-encrypted channels to similar facilities hidden across Earth. In underground bases beneath the Rocky Mountains, the Sahara Desert, and the Siberian tundra, other teams received the same alert. Humanity's first official contact with alien life was beginning, but it was hardly their first encounter. Above them, Vextal completed his initial scans and prepared his report. The humans showed no sign of detecting his presence. Their primitive radio telescopes pointed uselessly at distant stars while their basic satellites maintained simple orbital patterns. He had observed dozens of worlds just like this one. Species designation: human, he dictated. Population approximately 8 billion. Technology level: early space age. Primary energy source: fossil fuels with limited nuclear capability. Military assessment: surface-based projectile weapons, basic missile systems, primitive nuclear warheads. Space presence: minimal, limited to near-orbital activities. He paused to observe a human space station orbiting the planet. It looked like a collection of metal cylinders and solar panels, clearly assembled from multiple launches of their inefficient rockets. Utterly harmless. Threat level: negligible, Vextal concluded. Recommendation: standard monitoring protocols. Species shows no potential for rapid technological advancement or expansion beyond local system. What Vextal could not see were the facilities hidden within that space station. Behind panels that appeared to be simple research equipment, human technicians monitored his every movement. They had been tracking ships like his for over a decade, learning from each encounter. Captain Lee Min-jun commanded the station's hidden defense section. To outside observers, he appeared to be conducting routine experiments on plant growth in zero gravity. In reality, he was coordinating with Earth's hidden monitoring network. "Alien vessel maintaining standard observation pattern," he reported, through encrypted channels. "No deviation from previous scout ship behaviors. Recommend continuing passive surveillance." The irony was perfect. While Vextal believed he was observing primitive humans who remained unaware of his presence, those same humans were conducting far more sophisticated surveillance of him. In Seoul, General Choi Min-ho reviewed the incoming data from all monitoring stations. The alien scout ship was the 7th they had tracked this year, but the first to come so close to Earth. Previous encounters had occurred near Jupiter and Saturn, allowing humanity to study alien technology from a safe distance. "Any signs they have detected our activities?" he asked his intelligence chief. "None, sir. Their scanning methods are actually less advanced than we expected. They are looking for electromagnetic signatures and heat patterns that match their own technology. Our installations use completely different principles." Choi smiled grimly. For 40 years, humanity had been preparing for this moment. Every piece of alien technology they had secretly studied, every scout ship they had observed without being noticed, had led to this day when first contact would finally become official. As Vextal prepared to depart and file his report with the Galactic Council, he remained completely unaware that the primitive species below had already begun planning their response to whatever came next. The humans had learned patience, preparation, and most importantly, the value of being underestimated. 3 months after the first scout ship departed, the sky above Earth filled with massive alien vessels. 50 enormous ships materialized in perfect formation, each one larger than any city on the planet below. Their hulls gleamed with advanced metal that seemed to bend light around them, and energy fields crackled between their weapon arrays. Council Speaker Mordak stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking down at the small blue world with satisfaction. This was his favorite part of the job, the moment when primitive species first witnessed the true power of galactic civilization. In his 300 years of service, he had never seen a species that did not immediately surrender when faced with such overwhelming force. His communication officer approached with a nervous expression. "Speaker, we are receiving a transmission from the planet's surface. They request a diplomatic meeting." Mordak laughed, a sound like grinding metal plates. "Already? Most species take at least a full day to stop panicking. These humans must be more sensible than most." Down on Earth, Ambassador Lee Dong-min straightened his tie as he walked into the United Nations building in New York. Unlike the chaos that Mordak expected to find, the streets remained surprisingly calm. Traffic moved normally, people went about their daily business, and the only sign of the alien presence was the occasional person stopping to point at the sky. Lee had been preparing for this meeting his entire career, though the aliens did not know that. His briefing materials contained detailed analysis of alien psychology, social structures, and negotiation tactics gathered from decades of secret observation. He knew exactly what to expect from this encounter. The meeting took place in a specially prepared conference room. When Mordak materialized via transport beam, he towered over the human delegation like a metallic giant. His forearms gestured dramatically as he spoke through a translation device. "Greetings, primitive beings of Earth," he announced. "I am Council Speaker Mordak, representative of the Galactic Council. Your world has been selected for integration into our great civilization." Lee responded with a polite bow. "Welcome to Earth, Council Speaker. I am Ambassador Lee Dong-min. We appreciate your visit and look forward to learning more about your proposal." Mordak was pleased by the human's respectful tone. Most species either cowered in terror or made foolish threats at this stage. He activated a holographic display showing the Integration Accords, a document that had been signed by 847 other worlds. "These accords will grant your species the protection and guidance of the Council," Mordak explained. "In exchange, Earth will provide resources, technology, and population as directed by Council authority. All human military forces will be disbanded, and planetary governance will transfer to our appointed administrators." Lee studied the documents carefully, asking detailed questions about resource allocation, population management, and technological restrictions. His calm, methodical approach impressed the alien delegation. Here was a species that understood their situation and was approaching it rationally. "Your weapon systems appear quite advanced," Lee observed, pointing to specifications in the Accords. "These energy projection capabilities exceed our current understanding of physics. Mordak preened at the compliment. Indeed, your primitive projectile weapons and chemical explosives pose no threat to Council technology. This is why resistance is both futile and unnecessary. What Mordak did not realize was that Lee's questions were not born from admiration, but from intelligence. Gathering. Every technical detail the alien revealed was being recorded, analyzed, and transmitted to hidden facilities around the globe. In a bunker deep beneath Seoul, Dr. Yoon Soo-jin reviewed the incoming data with growing excitement. The aliens were revealing far more about their technology than they intended. Their weapon systems, while powerful, operated on principles that human scientists had already theorized and prepared countermeasures for. Their energy weapons use focused plasma contained by magnetic fields, she explained to General Choi Min-ho. We can disrupt those fields with the right electromagnetic pulse. Their shields rotate through predictable frequency patterns that we mapped from the scout ship encounters. Back in the conference room, Lee continued his careful questioning while maintaining the appearance of a concerned but overwhelmed leader. This integration process, he said, it seems quite comprehensive. Perhaps our people would benefit from time to understand and prepare for such significant changes. Mordak nodded approvingly. Wisdom from a primitive species. Very encouraging. We grant you 30 standard days to educate your population and prepare for integration. Use this time to explain to your people the benefits of joining galactic civilization. As the meeting concluded, Mordak felt confident about this particular integration. The humans seemed intelligent enough to recognize their position, but not advanced enough to cause problems. Their leader asked thoughtful questions and showed appropriate respect for Council authority. These humans show promise, he told his aide as they returned to their ship. They may adapt to integration better than most species we have encountered. Meanwhile, Lee returned to his secure facility where teams of analysts were already working with the intelligence gathered from the meeting. Every word, gesture, and technical detail had been recorded and was being distributed to research centers around the world. 30 days, Lee reported to his superiors, more than enough time to complete our preparations. As night fell over Earth, the alien fleet maintained its position in orbit, confident that the primitive world below was contemplating surrender. They had no idea that in hidden facilities across the planet, humanity was putting the finishing touches on technologies that would soon shock the galaxy. The aliens believed they were giving Earth time to accept defeat, but they were actually providing the final countdown to their own surprise. During the 30-day waiting period, the alien fleet maintained its position above Earth like watchful predators. Council Speaker Mordak expected to detect the usual signs of a world in panic: emergency broadcasts, military mobilization, desperate attempts to hide resources or evacuate population centers. Instead, his monitoring systems picked up something completely unexpected. Earth's industrial activity was increasing. From his flagship's observation deck, Mordak watched strange energy signatures bloom across the planet's surface. Factories that had been running at normal capacity suddenly operated around the clock. Power grids that should have been strained by crisis instead showed coordinated increases in output. Most puzzling of all, there were no mass evacuations, no military buildups, no signs of the chaos that typically preceded integration. Perhaps they are preparing celebration ceremonies, suggested his aide, Velcron. Some species create festivals to mark their entry into galactic civilization. Mordak was less certain. His experience with 47 other worlds told him this pattern was unusual. But the humans remained primitive according to all scans, so what could they possibly be planning? On the moon's hidden side, Captain Han Ji-woo made final adjustments to systems that had been disguised as mining equipment for over 15 years. Around her, technicians worked with quiet efficiency, activating weapon platforms that had been carefully hidden beneath fake excavation sites and scientific installations. Lunar Defense Grid 7 is now operational, she reported through quantum-encrypted channels that the aliens could not detect. All installations report ready status, camouflage systems remain active. The response came from General Choi in Seoul. Acknowledged, maintain concealment until authorization code. Similar scenes played out across the solar system. On Mars, What appeared to be terraforming equipment revealed hidden weapon arrays. The asteroid belt mining stations activated defense systems that had been installed years ago. Even Earth's communication satellites began subtle repositioning that went unnoticed by alien observers. Dr. Yoon Soo-jin worked frantically in her laboratory beneath the Korean mountains. The technical data gathered during the diplomatic meeting had provided the final pieces needed to complete humanity's secret project. Her team had spent decades developing weapons based on theoretical physics, but now they had practical examples of how those theories worked in real alien technology. The plasma containment field generators are ready, she announced to her research team. Field testing confirms they can disrupt alien shield frequencies. The electromagnetic pulse cannons are calibrated to match their weapon system vulnerabilities. Meanwhile, Ambassador Lee prepared for his return to the alien flagship. Unlike 30 days ago, he now carried detailed technical specifications, tactical assessments, and a complete battle plan developed by Earth's greatest military minds. But he would present none of this to the aliens. When the 30-day period expired, Lee arrived at the meeting with the same calm demeanor as before. Mordak greeted him with confidence, certain that the human leader was coming to sign the surrender documents. "Ambassador Lee," Mordak announced grandly, "I trust your people have had sufficient time to understand the benefits of joining our galactic community." Lee nodded politely. "We have indeed given your proposal careful consideration, Council Speaker. Our scientists, military leaders, and civilian populations have all reviewed the integration accords thoroughly." "Excellent," Mordak replied. "Then we can proceed with the signing ceremony immediately." Lee remained standing, his hands clasped behind his back. "I'm afraid there has been a misunderstanding, Council Speaker. After extensive deliberation, Earth must respectfully decline the integration accords." The silence in the conference room stretched for several seconds. Mordak's translator seemed to malfunction, repeating the word decline several times before his brain processed what he had heard. "You decline?" Mordak's voice carried a note of confusion rather than anger. "Perhaps your translation systems are faulty. I said integration, not negotiation." "Our translation is accurate," Lee replied calmly. "We appreciate your offer, but we prefer to maintain our independence. Instead, we would like to propose an alternative arrangement. Equal partnership between our civilizations with mutual technology exchange and shared governance of any joint ventures." Now Mordak's confusion turned to something resembling amusement. His aide Velcron made sounds that could only be alien laughter. Other council members in the room began what appeared to be their species' equivalent of chuckling. "Ambassador," Mordak said slowly, as if speaking to a child, "I do not think you understand your situation. You have no choice in this matter. Your primitive weapons cannot threaten our fleet. Your simple technology cannot oppose our authority." Lee maintained his diplomatic smile. "We understand our situation perfectly, Council Speaker. We also understand yours. We have analyzed your technology, studied your tactics, and evaluated your capabilities. Based on this analysis, we believe partnership would be more beneficial than subjugation for both our species." Mordak's amusement evaporated, replaced by irritation. In 3 centuries of conducting integrations, no primitive species had ever shown such arrogance. "Your analysis?" he said, his voice rising. "You have been a spacefaring civilization for less than 100 years. We have conquered galaxies for millennia." "Nevertheless," Lee continued in the same calm tone, "we must insist that your fleet withdraw from our solar system within 72 hours. After that time, we will consider your continued presence an act of aggression and respond accordingly." The conference room erupted in what could only be described as alien laughter. Mordak's 4 arms gestured wildly as he struggled to comprehend such unprecedented boldness from such a clearly inferior species. "Respond accordingly?" Mordak finally managed. "With what? Your chemical rockets and primitive nuclear weapons?" Lee simply smiled and stood to leave. "You will find out if you choose to remain, Council Speaker. We hope wisdom will prevail and peaceful withdrawal will make such demonstrations unnecessary." As Lee departed, Mordak stared after him in disbelief. In all his experience, he had never encountered such confident defiance from a species that was clearly outmatched. The human either possessed incredible courage or incredible stupidity. He would soon discover it was neither. Fleet Commander Kralthax stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching Earth's moon grow larger on the display screens. Behind him, 200 warships moved in perfect formation, the largest enforcement fleet the Galactic Council had deployed in over 50 years. This would be a demonstration that would echo across the galaxy for generations. "Begin standard intimidation approach," he commanded his officers. "Target their primitive lunar installations first. A few precise strikes should convince them to surrender before we need to damage the planet itself." His tactical officer nodded eagerly. "Sir, our scans show only basic mining equipment and research facilities on the lunar surface. This should be over quickly." Kralthax had commanded enforcement fleets for 2 centuries. He had crushed rebellions on worlds far more advanced than Earth. The humans' arrogant ultimatum had been forwarded throughout the fleet as entertainment, primitive creatures threatening the mighty Galactic Council with their crude rockets and chemical weapons. On the lunar surface, Captain Han Jiwoo watched the approaching fleet through sensors that the aliens could not detect. Her command center was buried deep beneath what appeared to be a simple mining operation, but housed technology that would have amazed the greatest minds in the galaxy. "All lunar installations. This is Tranquility Base 7, she transmitted, on channels the aliens had never learned to monitor. "Enemy fleet entering optimal range. Prepare to implement Protocol 7 on my command." Around the moon's surface, dozens of locations began subtle changes. Mining equipment that had operated for years suddenly revealed hidden mechanisms. Research stations deployed weapon systems that had been concealed within their structures. Solar panel arrays rotated to reveal targeting systems instead of power collectors. Kralthax reached optimal firing range and prepared to demonstrate Galactic Council superiority. "All ships, begin bombardment sequence. Target the largest lunar installations. Let these humans see what happens to those who defy the Council." His fleet's weapons powered up in unison, energy readings spiking across every ship. Plasma cannons that could melt mountains prepared to fire. This was always Kralthax's favorite moment, the instant before primitive civilizations learned their place in the galaxy. "Fire," he commanded. That was when everything went wrong. The moon's surface erupted not in destruction but in revelation. What the aliens had dismissed as mining equipment transformed before their eyes. Massive weapon platforms emerged from hidden underground chambers. Defense systems that defied every principle of physics they knew, powered up with energy signatures that dwarfed their own fleet. But most shocking of all was what happened to their weapons. As Kralthax's fleet fired, their plasma bolts simply vanished. Not deflected by shields, not absorbed by armor. They disappeared entirely as if they had never existed. "What is happening?" Kralthax shouted at his panicking bridge crew. "Why are our weapons not functioning?" His tactical officer stared at readings that made no sense. "Sir, something is interfering with our plasma containment fields. The energy is being dispersed before it can reach the targets." On the lunar surface, Captain Han Ji-woo smiled as her hidden weapons came online. "All stations, targets are locked. Begin systematic shutdown of alien vessels. Remember, disable, do not destroy. We want them functional for study." What followed could hardly be called a battle. It was more like a demonstration of technology so advanced that the alien fleet had no comprehension of what was happening to them. One by one, Kralthax watched his mighty warships go dark. First, their weapons failed. Plasma cannons that had never malfunctioned in centuries of service simply stopped working. Energy readings showed power flowing to the systems, but no weapons. Fired. Then their shields collapsed. Not from external attack, but as if something was reaching directly into their control systems and turning them off. Warning lights flashed across every bridge as defensive systems that had protected them through countless battles suddenly provided no protection at all. Finally, their engines died. 200 warships that had arrived with enough power to destroy planets found themselves drifting helplessly in space, their propulsion systems offline despite showing normal power readings on all instruments. "This is impossible," Kralthax whispered, staring at his darkened control panels. Their technology readings showed primitive electronics, chemical rockets, basic nuclear weapons. His communications officer managed to get emergency systems online. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the human vessels." Human vessels? Kralthax looked at his display screens. Ships were approaching his disabled fleet, sleek, advanced craft that bore no resemblance to the primitive rockets he had observed during the initial surveys. They moved with technology that seemed to bend space around them, covering distances that should have taken hours in mere minutes. The transmission came through clearly. "Galactic Council Fleet. This is Captain Park Min-jun of the Earth Defense Force. Your vessels have been disabled but not destroyed. Your life support systems remain functional. Prepare to be boarded for processing." Kralthax felt something he had never experienced in 2 centuries of military service: complete helplessness. His flagship, which had conquered dozens of worlds, now drifted powerless while primitive humans approached in ships that outclassed anything in the Galactic Council's arsenal. "How is this possible?" he asked aloud, though no one on his bridge had answers. The response came from the human transmission. "Commander, you made the mistake of assuming you had seen our actual capabilities. What you observed during your surveys was what we wanted you to see. The demonstration you just witnessed represents humanity at approximately 15% operational capacity." As human ships moved to secure the disabled fleet, Kralthax realized that the Galactic Council had not encountered a primitive species ready for integration. They had stumbled upon a civilization that had been patiently waiting for them to reveal their weaknesses. The hunters had become the hunted, and they had never even seen it coming. Fleet Commander Kralthax found himself in a room that looked nothing like the prison cells he had expected. The walls were a calm blue color, the furniture was comfortable, and soft music played in the background. A human, in a white uniform, checked his vital signs with equipment that seemed to understand his alien biology perfectly. "How are you feeling, Commander?" asked Medical Officer Lim J. Young in perfectly translated Galactic Standard. "We want to ensure your physical needs are met during your stay." Kralthax stared at the human woman in confusion. His species had been at war for centuries. Prisoners were usually kept in harsh conditions, interrogated roughly, and treated as enemies. But these humans seemed genuinely concerned about his comfort. "Why are you treating me so well?" he asked suspiciously. "We came to conquer your world," Lim smiled gently. "Because we are not conquerors, Commander. We are researchers. And right now you represent the most valuable source of information we have ever encountered." A few hours later, intelligence analyst Oh Soo-young entered the room carrying a simple chair and a tablet device. She was a small woman with kind eyes, but Kralthax sensed a sharp intelligence behind her friendly manner. "Commander, I would like to ask you some questions about your fleet and the Galactic Council," she said, settling into her chair. "But first, I think you deserve to understand what really happened to you." She activated her tablet, and holographic displays filled the room. Kralthax saw images of his own fleet approaching Earth's moon, but from angles that should have been impossible for humans to record. "Your species has been monitoring our solar system for 43 years, Oh explained calmly. "Every scout, ship, every survey mission, every routine patrol that passed through our space provided us with valuable information about Galactic Council technology." Kralthax felt his world shifting beneath him. "But our scans showed primitive development, chemical rockets, basic electronics." "Deliberately projected false readings," Oh replied. "We learned early that it was better to appear weak than to reveal our true capabilities. Every piece of data your scouts collected about Earth was carefully manufactured to support the image we wanted you to see." The holographic display showed Earth's moon, but not as Kralthax remembered it. Instead of simple mining operations, he saw massive underground installations connected by tunnels and powered by energy sources he could not identify. "Our lunar defense network has been operational for 18 years, Oh continued. What your surveys cataloged as mining equipment and research stations were actually 300 advanced weapon platforms. We built them slowly, quietly, and always disguised them as something harmless." Kralthax's mind struggled to process this information. "But why? Why hide your advancement? Why not simply announce yourselves to the galaxy?" Oh's expression grew serious. "Because we studied the Galactic Council's history, Commander. 847 worlds integrated, We noticed a pattern. Every species that joined the Council had been weaker than the Council's military forces. We never found records of the Council successfully integrating any species that could match their power. She showed him more displays. Human ships emerging from what had appeared to be empty space around Jupiter and Saturn. Installations hidden in asteroid belts that had been dismissed as mining operations. Defense networks throughout the solar system that had been invisible to alien sensors. We realized that if we appeared strong, you would either destroy us or avoid us entirely, O explained. But if we appeared weak, you would come to us, bringing examples of your technology for us to study and reverse engineer. The door opened, and Dr. Yoon Soo-jin entered. She was an elderly woman with gray hair, but her eyes sparkled with the excitement of someone who had just solved the greatest puzzle of her lifetime. Commander Kralthax, she said with a respectful bow. I wanted to personally thank you for bringing us such wonderful examples of Council technology. Your ships have provided the final data we needed to complete our analysis. Kralthax looked at her with growing horror. Analysis of what? Everything, Dr. Yoon replied cheerfully. Your faster-than-light drives, your energy weapons, your shield systems, your communications networks. We have been reverse engineering Galactic Council technology for decades, but we never had complete working examples until your fleet arrived. She activated another holographic display showing technical specifications that made Kralthax's head spin. Your plasma weapons operate on principles we theorized 15 years ago. Your shield rotation patterns follow mathematical sequences we mapped from previous scout ship encounters. Even your faster-than-light travel uses dimensional folding techniques that our physicists had already developed independently. This is impossible, Kralthax whispered. You are a primitive species. Our surveys confirmed it. Dr. Yoon's smile grew wider. Commander, your surveys confirmed exactly what we wanted them to confirm. Would you like to see what humanity looks like when we are not trying to appear primitive? The holographic display changed to show human ships unlike anything Kralthax had ever seen. Vessels that seemed to bend reality around them, moving through space in ways that defied every law of physics he understood. Weapons that could reach across star systems. Defense networks that spanned multiple planets. We have had faster-than-light capability for 12 years, Dr. Yoon continued. These vessels have been conducting reconnaissance missions throughout Council space since before your species knew we existed. We have detailed maps of your military installations, complete records of your fleet movements, and comprehensive analysis of every major Council world. Kralthax felt the last of his certainties crumble. Then why did you not simply attack us first? Because we are not the Galactic Council, O answered. We do not believe in conquest through force. We believe in peace through strength. Your Council made the mistake of assuming that every species in the galaxy would follow your model of expansion and domination. Dr. Yoon leaned forward, her expression becoming serious. Commander, your Council evaluated what they thought was humanity at its peak technological development. In reality, you encountered humanity at its most carefully restrained. We were not hiding our weakness from you. We were trying very hard not to reveal how strong we had actually become. As the implications sank in, Kralthax realized that everything he thought he knew about galactic civilization was wrong. The Galactic Council had not discovered a primitive world ready for integration. They had stumbled upon a species that had been quietly preparing for this encounter for nearly half a century. Humanity had never been trying to compete with the galaxy. They had been waiting for the galaxy to come to them.